Welcome back to Matchday Report, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into the business, shall we? We lost again. Okay, so we lost 2-0 to Sunderland. Was it a result we expected? Yes, but at the same time, it's the fashion at which we lost the game. Now, this is another match that I did not see. This time, because I was working. I didn't watch Sheffield Wednesday because I instead decided to go on the boozer. And this time I couldn't watch the game because, well, I was working. We tried to watch the game on shift, but they said no, and instead we got live updates. So that's what I'm working with here, and I've seen the extended highlights, same as last time, and I'll give my thoughts on the moments in which I think were the criminal ones. But anyways, let's have a look. So on paper, when we look at this, we had more shots, we had less on target, but we had more possession, we had more passes, blah, blah, blah. The accuracy of the passes were good for a change. We had more fouls, but that's normal. We only had 3 corners, but like it doesn't look awful when you read that. But when you look at the nature of the goals and what the ones that we missed, it's just sort of like it's frustrating. It really is. So let me break it down a little bit for you. I know 3 of our chances. One came from Potts, which was he stuck it on the chest and tried to volley it. He had plenty of time to bring it down and have an actual shot, I believe, in that case. Mads had a goal, but went over the bar. I think that happened twice. I can't remember what the other 2 shots on target were. I think Miller was one of them, but all the shots we made, they weren't great, apart from one at the start of the game from Whiteman, which was a good and very well placed shot, but the keeper's got into it. From what I've seen, their keeper did really well on Monday. I know it's Wednesday now, apologies I'm late. But yeah, I'm more than sure that their keeper kept them in the game a couple of times, from what I've seen anyway. Be sure to tell me differently. But yeah, lots of people, I asked for opinions on Twitter, and people were saying that I didn't miss anything and whatnot, so bit of a snoozer by the sound of it, but let's go for the player rating, shall we? Freddie Woodman, 5.5. Looked like he got a hand to Pritchard's shot from the distance, but couldn't keep him out. Made a couple of routine saves elsewhere. Yeah, the Pritchard goal, very good goal. The defenders on our part could have done a lot better, to be fair. The second goal, however, was poor. Very complacent defending, in all honesty. I think Woodman maybe could have got the second one, but at the same time, it's everyone in front of him. It's like if it wouldn't have got that far if we did our job properly. But yeah, I think McCann and Potts were sort of at fault for the second goal. Potts 5.5, started on the front foot, got forward support attacks, but struggled to carry a threat second half. Story of 5, back in the side, but Clark gave him a hard time for the second goal. Sorry, not Potts. Costing moment in the match. Lindsay 4.5 went into the book first half for a frustrating challenge. And Rustin nipped in ahead of him for the second goal. Next page. Hughes 5 played at left centre, played at left back and left centre, back over the piece, couldn't get out to Pritchard or block his eventual shot. McCann 4. I think McCann was probably one of the worst defenders on the pitch on the day. At the base of midfield, with Peony sticking by 4-1-4-1 shape, which was stupid. Stuck between Bellingham and Pritchard before the latter's alternate. Couldn't bring Clark down before the second. Centre shot at Patterson second half. Brown 6. Started out on the right in a different role. Kept going until the end. Showed some composure in possession, but the game looked gone and it proved to be. Whiteman 6. Saw a powerful stripe tipped over early by Patterson. Rotated with McCann throughout the game. Started an advanced role before dropping back. Looked frustrated in the second half. Mads 5.5. His first start in 8 games. Sent a couple of shots over the crossbar first half. Saw one blocked by Evans in the second, which would have been on target. Looked to find space and get on the ball, but couldn't hurt Sunderland as much as he would have liked. And Ryan Lowe decided to single him out in his post-match interview for whatever reason. Even though he said, "I won't criticise my players," but he criticised Mads pretty quickly. Had a couple of moments over the 90 minutes by the end product or a recipient inside the box wasn't there. Was the obvious outlet, and Sunderland recognised that again. I think a lot of teams have started to figure out that Miller's our best player by a country mile, and we're going to have water players on him now. And that's when we need to, change it up a little bit to make sure that Miller isn't the focus on the ball. Evans 4, played up top on his own but couldn't impact the game. Osmite 5 introduced in the 65th minute but didn't have much of a kick. Saw a half-hearted penalty shout turned down. I didn't see that on the things I watched. Will Keane 5, brought on at the same time as Millie and tried to link the play, but Sunderland kept defending comfortably. Reese on for the final 10, which is another step forward post-injury, but the match was as good as gone at that time. So nothing much to say about Reese really. I don't think Ched should have been starting, to be honest with you. I think Millie or Keane should have started, but at the same time our forward options are still looking quite limited. So if I'm going to be honest with you, despite having 4 strikers now, one of them is borderline fit, bear in mind, I do think maybe a lone striker is needed, because Jesus Christ, the amount of times we've had fit strikers this season, and apart from Keane at the start of the season, since he got injured, nothing's been there. It's just we've had nothing up front recently. I know the people behind them haven't been supporting them as much as they did, but I don't understand why we don't just continue with the game plan and the shape that we did against Leeds, because it was highly successful. And if the ref weren't so against us on the day, we would have won 2-0. So I really don't understand why we don't just follow on from what we did on Boxing Day and keep trying to change it. But oh well. Right, what did Ryan Law said? I haven't got time to analyse it in 5 or 10 minutes. I think you could tell he were really pissed off and he'd lost his head, because a lot of the things he was saying, I've already listened to it. So if this is the same one, which it looks to be, yeah, it's not. I didn't think it was great. I will analyse it, but what I will say is we can't give that much space and let the shot go into our net from 35 yards. First and foremost, we got to get up to the ball, and the second one, just before half time, we spoke about it all week. I thought Potts did well with Jack Clark, but the ball goes into their box, their keeper catches it, and we leave one of the best players in the division isolated. We had about 8 or 9 players forward at that time, and because, you know, their keeper, unlike our keeper, and their forwards like to camp the halfway line, the keepers managed to make a throw out to Jack Clark, and they've just had an absolute sprint down the pitch. We're not fast enough to get back, and it's an easy goal. But yeah, it's a shame really. Anyways, we got to get to the ball, and the second one was just before half time. Oh no, I've already read that. Yeah, there we go. Even 2 tackles couldn't bring him down. Well, they were very half-assed tackles, or take the ball off him. We knew we needed to lock that out. That is the danger. He puts the ball across, and in this division, 2-0 at half-time is a tough scoreline to come back from. It's more or less game over. Okay, that's what really did my head in. The fact that they're saying 2-0 down is game over. Let me show you something very quickly. I want to show you 2 great examples of why it is not game over. Firstly, Southampton. We came back from 1-0 down to go 2-1 up, and it became 2-2 because we lost our heads in complacency. Yes, it's not 2-0 down, but it's very similar because it's an opposition that could have easily stung us, but we kept them at bay. Here's another one for you. P&E versus Bristol in the 2021 season. This could be the example I'm thinking of where Reece scores in the last minute. But it's beside the point. There was a game we did have against Bristol. I'm struggling to remember which one it was though. Where I believe we were 2-0 down, came back to draw 2-2 and salvage a point. We never really do well against Bristol, to be honest with you. But that beside the point. You can go 2-0 down, you can go back and draw 2-2. Even if you don't have to win the game, you can still draw the game. Like, you know, I always go back to this game. Look at when we played Leeds in 2010. I think we were 4-2 down in the first half and we went back to win it 6-4. It's different times of football, different category of players in the field now, I understand that, but that there's just no winning mentality in the side at the minute. It's as soon as we go a goal down, we lose our heads, and that's why it's so frustrating, because we don't have that kind of a mentality or game plan in play at any time. But oh well. Yeah, it's more or less game over. I was asking at half-time for a little bit of belief. Oh dear, to roll sleeves up, be more dogged and brave on the ball. We weren't clinical enough or clever enough, agreed at the top of the pitch to get a goal. It was 6 days since we beat Leeds, to then lose to Sheffield Wednesday, which was disappointing. Today we had large pots of possession, but not enough moments to win a game. In saying that, we can't give 2 goals away like we did today. It is a frustrating one at the minute, because you've got to keep trying and find solutions, and that's what we will do. I can't criticise the players, they give us everything. I have said that many times, that we lack quality. You've literally just said you can't criticise the players just to say we lack quality. It's very hypocritical straight off the bat to that. It's up and down, definitely. Win 1, lose 1, draw 1. It's not good enough. The points we got early on in the season were good, but we need to get back that way. It's all of our job to put it right. There are some good players out there, and they've proven it through the season. We need to find a solution or do something that's different, whether it's to have a shot from 25 yards or 30 yards, which we should be doing anyways, instead of crossing it into the box every fucking 5 minutes. But what I will say is Mads had 2 clear-cut chances, and for his quality and ability, they went over. One moment in the first half from 35 yards, and it's found its way in. That's, again, you're just criticising Mads, singling Mads out. Our analyst Dan has told me he didn't have to clip anything in the second half in terms of chances, but as I said, the game was done and dusted and they managed it well. You have to be confident, you can't sit there and cry or grumble, which we do anyway. You've just got to get it over and get on with it. We'll analyse and debrief it on the way back, look at the good stuff, and we need to do better. Inconsistency is key. We've not been consistent enough to go on a running winner games, but it is in there because you've seen it, but we need to find it and quick. When asked about it being 4 wins in 19, a disgusting figure, I haven't looked that far, mate. You have obviously been doing your own work, but I haven't looked at 4 wins in 19. I'm just looking at the next one. As you well know, and I probably wanted to point out quickly, it's not good enough, and we know that. I don't need you to tell me that, but we know that it's not good enough. We need to find solutions. So just simply because he's been told that we're shit, he's lost his temper at the media man, which again, Ryan Law right now is a broken man. Boxing Day was good, yes, but at the same time, he's still a broken man. You can very clearly see it in his interviews, in what he's saying, the way that he's struggling to find ways around it. It's exactly like we was this time last season, when we was losing our heads, everything was going tits up, and we had to beat Wigan to get back on form. We beat Wigan, and we found form, and we were borderline playoffs. This season it might be a little bit different, or it's going to be a repeat, I don't know. But the thing is, Craig and Peter are not going to sack Ryan simply because they see this as a long-term project that they will invest into over a course of years to then take us places. While yes, it's a good idea, it's not proving very successful right now because recently, like I said, in recent times, it's been going tits up, and if it carries on this way, we're going to be in relegation battle by February. So if it doesn't get fixed, something needs sorting and fast. Birmingham have just sacked Rooney after only 4 months in charge. They shouldn't have sacked their original manager to begin with for the sake of having a big name in charge of the club, because Rooney's a shite manager. But I guess it's media for you. And this is something that pissed a lot of people off. The comment he made on the FA Cup to Chelsea. We have now sold out our allocation at Chelsea. 6,000 plus Preston fans going to Chelsea, making extra coaches available out of the club's pocket to take us there. The club has probably brought in about 1.5 million in sales on this game alone, or spent that much. There was a figure I read somewhere, more than sure it says this game is making us roughly 1.5 million. That is a lot of money and a lot of dedication from the fans to go and watch us play at Stamford Bridge. It is massive. This is a massive occasion. And this is what Ryan Lowe had to say about it. You got to keep trying to find solutions. That is all we keep doing. I have a fantastic set of coaching staff and players, and I can't criticise them. I've said many times that we lack quality, but we're going to have to find solutions. I've just said that over the next 2 weeks there will be all the work for Bristol City at home. I know that we've got the FA Cup, but it's the least of our worries. The next worry is to try and pick up some points where we can. I'm not being funny. Well, yes, the league is currently concerning. You are telling me that you have, that the club has been trying to, put something on for the fans to make this a special occasion to get that many people down to London and back on a coach, putting in all that money to hire these coaches out for prices that they're trying to make affordable for people, but they don't care, they'll pay it anyway. They're paying all this money to go and see their team play against Premier League opposition at a Premier League ground, something they don't get to see very often, let's be honest. It was like Spurs last season, we sold out Deepdale. Well, we weren't sold out, but it was borderline sold out for Spurs at home. This time, we are taking 6,000 knobbers to Chelsea, and it's the least of our concern to send those fans home happy. It's rattled, and when I say rattled, I mean it has sent Twitter into fucking meltdown for good reason. Simply because comments like that, we will not tolerate comments like that. It is ridiculous. Ryan Law, a broken man. A poll was held online, the P&E forums, and I believe it got 2,000 to 3,000 votes along those lines. 97% of the votes were Law to leave. That is a shockingly huge figure. I don't think we've seen anything like this since Wesley. Maybe Ferguson, but Ferguson's a different story to some extent. But yeah, it's bad. Right now, things are very fucking bad. It went this way for Frankie McAvoy and he got the sack. The reason Ryan Law's not getting the sack is because they've seen what he did at Bury and Argyle, and they want the same to happen with us. Ryan Law worked miracles for Plymouth Argyle, and he did well for Bury, let's be honest. But Ryan Law never played in the Championship. He was a League One player at best. He scored a lot of goals, and he does have the right attacking mindset in that league. But the Championship's a different animal that he can't seem to keep up with. The start of the season were fantastic, and I don't think he knows where he went right, and he can't seem to point out why it went wrong. He's just, I don't know. I think at the minute he's broken. How do we fix him? I don't know. How do we fix our form? I don't know. I'm not the manager. It's not my job. But all I will say is, despite not having any coaching badges, it's a team that I support and it's a team I'm passionate about. And if we go down this league even more and things keep going to turmoil, I really don't understand why we're going to keep him on board. Because at this point we will end up in League One, and that's the last thing we want, to get relegated. We've been in the Championship now for nearly a decade, and to get relegated on the turn of that decade would be an absolute disaster, I think, because, you know, our primary aim, as we say, is to stay in the Championship. Promotion, yes, that would be nice, but the aim is to stay in the Championship, and right now, that's looking like it's a struggle. So, Chelsea's report, you know, the FA Cup watch, I believe I call that series, will come on Sunday, and any other games we have, I believe the next game after Chelsea is Bristol at home, so I'll cover that on the Sunday, following Sunday. But then again, Bristol's another game I won't be watching. I'll try my best to watch the Bristol game, but I won't be watching it as far as I'm aware. So not for the reason that not because I don't want to watch it. It's just personal reasons. I've got things going on that day, going to a concert, so I won't have time to go to Deepdale. Otherwise, I won't make it to Manchester in time. But yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. But fingers crossed, I'll be sat here on Sunday smiling that we are advancing to the next round of the FA Cup after beating some tough opposition. But yeah, thanks a ton for watching. I'd like to know everyone's thoughts. I'm going to be hosting a Supporters Discuss in the coming 2 weeks. And yeah, I'll probably post about Supporters Discuss after Chelsea. We'll get Supporters Discuss done before the Bristol game. And yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say. So yeah, I'll sign out for the day, and hopefully you all have a good rest of your week. See you the weekend.